Well, this is a project I'm working on here. I cut open the wall here so I can reroute the electricity. As you can see, some of my problems here, I had hot spots. I was thinking of doing some YouTube videos here, but I get a hot spot there. So I installed these two lights up here. Let's see how this looks. I'll turn these on. Okay, you still got the glare there, so let me turn this light off. That looks a lot better. That's something you can probably do a video on there. 3D printer. This light over here also creates somewhat of a glare spot with the window, but not so bad once you have those spots on there. But having the light blocking there helped quite a bit. Darken the rest of the room, so probably someone standing in front of there might be a little bit dark, but I'm more focused on what the whiteboard's doing. Next goal will be to carve up these holes. I got pieces cut out, and so I have to put this all back here. And I'll show what this looks like in the next video. What you do is you put right here, the studs are pretty close to here, so I'm going to have to attach wood slats and maybe a block of wood to help attach this side here. It's a little bit too close to the stud, so I might have to put a little bit of wood attached to this board here. So, and up here it's the same problem. Oh, there's some space on this side here, so I should be able to just put little side pieces in there. I'll show you what that looks like after I get it done. Well, there'll be another video, see how that all looks. Then after all that, we'll have to repair the wallboard and plaster over it, and there'll be a third video to see how that all looks. When it's all done and painted, you should probably not even be able to tell that this wall got all mangled up and everything. And so that should be, looks pretty good. I can also, just got a dimmer on it so I can adjust the light a little bit there if I wanted less contrast. And that looks pretty good. All right, that should wrap that up. Okay, we're now attempting to attach some wood form so we could have something this board down here to screw into. So let's go ahead and attach. I want to go underneath here, so I'm just going to put this here and align it. Okay, let's put one more fat one over here. I'm going to set this wire. I never got around to stapling that, but I'll just kind of hide it here underneath there, and that'll hold her in place. And I'll put another one. I'll kind of sneak this back here. So now we got two of them. Not sure if these are long enough. Let's try it. Yeah, but I'll take one right here. But I'll show you that later. Let me just kind of cinch this thing down just while it's there. Okay. And we'll take I think these are a little bit too long here, these little pieces here. I'll have to, some of them, I might get one that goes all the way up. I can take some and put some behind here. So let's go ahead and, I like that fat one there. We'll just take this one right here, and we'll just kind of do one right here. Okay, so need to put a little bit of pressure behind that one so it has some room to go here. Okay, that's good. I want to sink it too far to get beyond the paper there, and it kind of loses its integrity. Okay, this goes up to here a little bit. Just put one more in there. You won't see these nails after. There, that's good. Okay, we'll put another one down here. Okay. Sunk a little too far. Let's go. One more. Just a little bit more. This is a screwdriver. Okay, that's good. I'll put one down here. It's important that you put a little bit of pressure behind here. Now let's get one more just to make sure we're good. Okay, that should hold her there. Then we got this. When they get, I'm going to get something down here. Probably. You got the electrical box down there. I'm going to need to go get the chop saw bit. I'll put like 2 thick through here and 2 thick. There's room down here, and extend this out. Then we'll be screwing into this base here, top and bottom. So that should help. And then once that's all done, we'll have stuff to screw into here. It's almost holding it in place now, but that's what it'll look like when it's all done. Now if I can get this back out, and we'll do the same above. So we have this little oddball shape, but I wanted to make sure I didn't have a rotational problem, so I made it kind of an oddball shape. But we'll have to do the same thing up there. Anyway, we'll have to get the chops off, but that's pretty much what's going to do. I'll show you what it looks like afterwards, and then we'll show some mudding. Notice over here, he's got these little parts. I thought that this thing had hollow piece all the way up, but for some reason there's a partial 2x4 going all the way up the wall there. So, so unfortunately, I couldn't travel that way, so I had to completely redo. There's an outlet outside here, so I had to completely reconfigure this whole thing just so I can get one more. This is the one we added, this little piece here, to get the spots done. Okay, that should do it. Okay, this is what it looks like. We have this 2 pieces right here, and this is kind of holding this wire in place there. So and we'll do the same thing up there. And we've got 2 underneath this outlet. We have 2 pieces stacked, so we can. And you got to make sure that this is flush to the wall. If it's not, then it's gonna. It might be poking out here. So this has to be flush to the stud and not to the outside. Otherwise, your piece will be sticking out. So that's just a common sense thing. And we're going to put a screw here and here, here, and here on the outside of the wallboard, and a couple here and there. And we'll do the same thing above. Next thing we're going to do, we're going to grab some insulation because once you open up a wall, the insulation kind of gets messed up, so we're just going to stuff some extra in there just to make it a little bit better. All right, that's it. Okay, this is the finished product here. As you can see, we followed this line here to get that corner in, and same as goes there, a couple there. Followed up here and up there. Now the next thing is we're going to have to sand this fringe piece here. Probably about 150 grit. Just kind of get all these little stragglers there kind of sticking up. And we're going to put tape over the hole or the cut between the two pieces. I had to put an extra screw there so this thing wouldn't poof out. But we have everything relatively flush. But we need to make a little bit of room, sand it out a little bit so we can get the tape in there, and then you want to build too much height, otherwise you get kind of messed up. So we have all I have to do now is tape over the screw heads and the cuts, and then we'll apply some tape and mud, hard mud. We'll use the hard mud, not the finishing mud, and then we'll just kind of fix it. Now this mess over here, those two boxes are too close to each other, and I had no choice because the bottom one was the existing one, which is kind of high, but that's where it was. The top one, there was just enough room to put in there, but there was a board above it, so I'll have to 3D print a custom cover to go over that, and there's the 3D printer. So I bought some ivory colored filament so we can match the color of the outlets there. And I changed the bottom one to a square base so it would match the top one better. So that's the next phase of the project, and we'll get back on that later. Bye. Okay, here's the first pass of mud. Had some kind of old chunky stuff, so I'll probably have to do a second pass and a light sand on this to get the high spots off. But the important thing is you want to make sure you push the mud in the crevices and make sure the tape stays on there and there's not flappy things sticking up. Wait for that to harden a couple of days, and then I'll go over it with some better hard mud, and then we'll do the finishing mud on the next steps. All right, that's it. Okay, here's the current progress here. Out of focus for some reason. But next phase is we're going to get the we're going to use this. Let's turn the light on here so we can see a little better. Okay, we're going to use this knife. It's about 6 inches or so. Then the 20-inch knife will be the next one. And we'll use the bucket here. The first pass was hard mud, your regular mud, which will also be used for texturing. Then we'll use what's called finishing mud, which is a lot softer and easier to get through the crevices. And so we'll see how that looks. But the goal is to get this as flat as possible so that after you texture it, it'll look like the wall behind it. And we kind of have to figure out how to make the texture look similar to what's already there, which is kind of bumpy. Looks like there's a left to right motion here, so we'll try to emulate that. All right, we'll see what this looks like after we're done with that. Okay, it's another day. This patch up here, let's turn the light on here. A little easier to see it. A couple of spots there, not quite smooth, but this is pretty much close enough to probably texture. This down here probably needs one more pass, yeah. I did the 12-inch knife and I go back down to 6 so to fill in the little stuff. A little bit of an indent through here. A couple of rough spots there, but once it's textured you probably won't see that, but just one more pass and then we'll probably do the texturing later. So we've got everything almost ready to go. Yeah, that's definitely, I was definitely going to need a custom plastic over that. That gaping hole doesn't have any support whatsoever right between the boxes. Okay, that's a little rough through here. Alright, so after we do the final mud pass, we'll probably do a light sand and start the texturing process. Okay, that's in. Start filming.
You don't have it on yet, right? I pushed that square.
I don't have it right.
It's not on yet, right? Oh, it is on.
Okay, we're going to, well, we've got this flattened up. It's not perfect. It looked perfect before I turned this off, but then then when I got this light, then I can see some of the imperfections, but it won't matter. The texture will take care of it. We're going to go hard by this time. And the tool of choice is just a square trowel and a spoon.
Mm-hmm.
And we're going to take this. Oh, this is a little wet. Might be a problem. Okay, so we're going to take this and just kind of dot it with the back of the spoon.
Why are you making them random?
Oh, they're random so they can, the texture is going to be random, so these dots have to be random.
Oh, okay.
I'm just going to take this and spot it on. Okay, we'll take this and now toward the edge we want to have a smaller texture. So we get the big blobs around here. I want this kind of blend in a little bit. Okay, just get a little bit more. I have to kind of, this is a little bit on the wet side here, this back. So we'll have to wait a couple of minutes to let it set up a little bit dry before we knock it down with the trowel here. The other one. See, what we're going to do is we're going to take this one here and just kind of lightly skip over it, not press it down hard, just barely touching it, and that'll help smush it into the right texture. Okay, some more. All those imperfections were experienced last time. Okay, just a little bit more on that edge there.
Well, that's looking pretty good.
Don't want to slide too much. Just want this nice and random. A little bit down there. nice about texture in a wall is it helps to hide a lot of sins. Let's get that side a little bit so I can put on the anemic side. I'll just put it on one end here and get it to make sure you get the interface good. So it kind of blends into the old texture. Okay, we'll let that.
Maybe a little bit above the,
This is a little bit weak through here. Let me get some of that.
and a little bit above the switch.
Okay, a little bit from the switch. There. Okay, now we'll grab the ladder and do the upper section. It actually goes pretty quick. We call this the spoon and trowel method.
Spoon and trowel.
Spoon and trowel method. Okie dokie.
It's harder to see because of the spotlight.
Just a little bit more texture in that center there.
Your angle, that spotlight's making a big.
Is that better?
Yeah.
We get the process called knocking it down. Just barely touch it. Just kind of squish the peaks down a little bit. That's all we want. We don't want to press very hard. Just barely touch it.
It's already starting to look like it's matching the texture it was on there. It's good.
Let's get a little bit on the center. Okay, now this should be dry enough here. We're just going to take this. I'm going to work
I
from the
can't
bottom.
see. Okay.
Work from the bottom. Oh, you're.
But you're not really taking it off, you're just smoothing it.
You're just kind of knocking down the peaks a little bit. Just kind of spreading it around a little bit. Okay.
Wow.
Texture's not exactly the same as the wall, but it's once you get it painted, it's a dark color, you hardly notice. Okay, now let's see if we can knock down this thing. Alright, and the next step will be to sand it a little bit, just to lightly sand it with the 220 grit, give or take, and then prime it. Get a decent primer, And make sure that you protect it, because paint will not stick to this mud stuff. It's just, don't even bother with paint with primer, just do primer first, then paint. Right, that'll do it. Just a quick addendum. Here's my faceplate. My print bed isn't big enough to do the elongated continuous single piece, so I have a little tongue and groove kind of thing on the bottom. So you can see that in that. There's a little bit, just a little hole, and the other one will be sticking out, and I'm just going to go together and then glue that and put it onto that piece there. Just a little side. Everyone should have a 3D printer. It's just like a must-have. Right. This is the final result here. You see the big glare there, so I can turn that off. And the glare's still there, so I'll turn off this light. Okay, so let's see how the grab it. See how that looks. Alright, looks good. You see the wall looks pretty good. A little bit of, get more light there. Okay, that helps a little bit. You see my double plate, how close those are together. And those are 3D printed. My printer doesn't have enough, isn't big enough to do it in one continuous piece, but that looks like it worked out pretty well. And you see the texture there looks yeah, a little blotchy there, but not too bad. Yeah, the above looks a little bit better. So we now have a wall in place. That little holder there is 3D printed as well. There's the 3D printer. And here's my contraption for, let's do the other light here. See this? This is a 3D printed thing here to get this pinned back. You see, this is like a turnbuckle where you can actually make this one closer to this one, and that kind of holds this pattern groove here, holds the iPad in place so you can take a picture. And this is a Vivitar Mount, 3D printed to go into the tripod there. And this little contraption here is to hold wires in place so they don't cause a strain. And that will be what I'll be doing with the videos there. Here's the audio thing. It's just a simple little mixer. And test all that stuff out pretty soon. And that'll be the completion of this project with the overheads to give us a little bit better light. Still like that glow in the middle, so I have to close this. I'll probably will look dark, but I'd rather people see the whiteboard than see me, so that's fine. And if I need more, I could put a little bit more light in the room, maybe some backlight. I've got a couple fluorescents I could just light the back side of the room without directly reflecting off the whiteboard surface. All right, that should do it.